accents.
They're way too big.
They're way too big for that.
Down to a woody frog. You guys see any wood frogs?
Not yet. We've heard peepers. Haven't seen it yet.
I'm Frank Covetto. I'm the executive director of the museum, and we're going to lead the program for you along with some of my staff members. We have Jake Kushner, Paul King, and Christine Aguilar. They're all environmental educators here at the museum. So today's a really special program. We're going to look for the Eastern Tiger Salamander, which is a endangered species in the state of New York. It's only found on Long Island in the state of New York, and they're not found north of here. Okay, Fred, is that correct?
This is pretty much the edge of their range, so they're a much more southern species, so to see them up here is pretty special.
So it's pretty cool. This time of year, the tiger salamanders and the other mole salamanders here on Long Island are coming out of their burrows where they've been all winter and heading to their breeding ponds, which are known as vernal ponds. Salamanders, they resemble a lizard in some way, but they are amphibians. They're not reptiles. We gave you guys handouts, so the front page of that handout is an Eastern Tiger Salamander. They are the largest land-dwelling salamander, I think, in the United States. They can get to 13 inches. Normally the ones we find are around 7 to 8 to 9 inches. So, question. Did they just become endangered? No, they've been endangered for a while. And what does endangered mean for the young folks here?
It means rare. And
Rare,
there's
but
not
what
that
else?
Many.
Yes, exactly. I hope.
And they also can have diseases that can give endangered species the same disease, and they can kill them.
All right, I'm going to hire you to be an environmental educator when you get a little older, okay? All right.
You learned this from me because I told
So tonight we're going to go explore a couple of vernal ponds that are in the back of the museum. Everybody has flashlights, right?
Yep.
So when we get to the wetland, we just got to be careful because the salamanders are traveling to these vernal ponds from the woods. So we just got to be careful. Actually, they found one dead one right yesterday. So you just never know. Some of these salamanders, it's a struggle to migrate to these vernal pools for these salamanders. Some make it, some don't. So, all right. So Jake, where's Jake? I can't see anything. Yep. Jake Kushner kind of leads our reptile and amphibian walks with Andy. So do you want to give an overview maybe on what we're going to do, or did I do a good job indicating?
Yeah. So we're going to head out to some of the wetlands in the back. When we get there, we just ask that everyone kind of hangs out near the edge. So we don't want to spook any of the salamanders or anything like that. It's a little bit tough, this pond, to get to them. So me and Paul here are going to head in. We're going to try to catch them, and then we'll bring them over. We have containers, and that way everyone will get to see, hopefully up close, salamander. There we go. So this is a really amazing salamander. See, like he said, it's state endangered. So it's really special that we do get to see them here. This is probably the farthest population on the edge of their range right here at SOFO. They're not known to occur in East Hampton anymore, so this is pretty much it. So it's one of the last few strongholds. So it's a really special, unique place. So hopefully we'll get to see some tonight.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah!
Let's follow Jake and Paul. Follow them.
Alexander, let me use my phone. Okay, here.
So this time of year, the mole salamanders, other than the marbled salamanders, are going to their breeding ponds to lay eggs and to, carry on the population of their species. So in February and March, the Eastern Tiger Salamanders head to their ancestral ponds where they came out of when they were born and try to, repopulate their species by going to the vernal pools and looking to breed. So normally, in the past, when we did programs in the summer, like the blue spotted walk back in October, the animals that we were looking for had already developed throughout the year. So they were young and they were metamorphosing or metamorphed into land-dwelling animals where they were under logs. And that program takes place later on in the year after the development stages have taken place of the salamanders. So right now, there's no young salamanders in these ponds. The adults are going in to lay eggs. That's what they're doing.
All right, guys. So I'm going to ask that you stay right here. I'm gonna take a little kind of loop around the pond and look to see if I can catch a salamander. And I'll bring it over if we do find one. So don't worry, everybody. So I'll just have everyone
On the left? All right.
So we're gonna work on
I like that everyone's actually engaged and the kids seem to be pretty knowledgeable actually. Listening to Frank for 15 seconds, you'll learn something about salamanders. Growing up in Montana, I always saw salamanders, but I haven't seen one in probably 28 years, so I'm really hoping that we are successful in finding a salamander.
All the ponds in the woods are frozen still. So this one here, there's no trees around this pond, so it gets sun all day long. That's why it's accessible. They go to their ancestral pools to breed. So they basically, they're born, they metamorph into land-dwelling animals, then they live in the same area, and then every year that they have to breed, once they're reproductively mature, they go back into those ponds. So there's some, internal stimulation to just go back to their ancestral ponds, Now what happens is if the vernal ponds dry up, they will go to those ponds. Notice there's no water in those ponds because sometimes those ponds run dry and they stay dry for a while. They won't breed that year. They'll just go back to the woods and just wait till the following season. And if they come back and it's still dry, they'll just wait again till the following year. So if you don't save the ponds, if they get developed on and those ponds are not there for those animals to come back every year, that's it. You wipe out that population of animals that utilize that pond for breeding purposes, and it happens a lot.
Alright guys, we got one. We gotta go back over here.
You got one?
Yeah, but we gotta go back over here where it's safer and less squishy.
Yeah, that's so big.
Yeah.
That's the tiger.
That's an Eastern Tiger. It's the only one we're probably going to see tonight, salamander-wise. This is one of 4 mole salamanders that are in the Embistamidae family. That's an adult, right? So we won't see the young until later on in the year.
It's so adorable.
I have some that are probably like 2
You know,
to
and
3
they
years
might be
old and they're half the
territorial
size.
when they're in the bottom of the ponds with other males trying to lay their spermatophores to attract a female. There might be some territorial stuff going on there.
You don't know much about
People don't see these things are they're nocturnal. You won't find these guys during the day.
They have like little black toe tips, especially on the back, so they're really good at digging. Most salamanders, their toes are just soft, so they can't dig as well. But they have a little hardened end on their toe tips. So they're great diggers. Yeah, that keel tail, excellent for swimming. Really, really cool salamanders. This pattern, it's hard to tell now, but especially in a true vernal pool, when these guys are just in the leaf litter, this pattern, they really do disappear. Actually, they metamorphosize and move on to land where they live the rest of their adult life, only coming back into the ponds during the breeding season. Males, if you notice at the base of his tail, he has a bulge. That's their cloaca, which is their reproductive organ. A female would not have the bulge right now. The male doesn't always have that bulge, so just during the breeding season. And females, sometimes during this year, if you do see them, you can actually tell when they're gravid, which means full of eggs. And they, definitely have a bloated appearance to them.
My name is Elias Benares. I'm a very good friend of Andy Sabin, who's the head of SOFO Center. And I've been hunting salamanders with him for quite a number of years now, at least over a decade. Tiger salamander is the largest terrestrial salamander in the United States. It's endangered. And this is really a great treat to see a species that normally none of the public really gets to see. They're pretty secretive. They hide on the ground most of the time. When they come up at breeding time, we can actually see them and observe them. So it's really quite a treat to see the largest terrestrial salamander in the United States.
All right. And I'll release the second one too so everyone can see. So ready? We're gonna put him back. And we're gonna see him. We'll send him the right direction in the middle of the pond there. So just make sure we let him swim off. Okay? All right, guys, let's move our nets so he swims off comfortably. There he goes, back into the depths, right? See how they swim? They tuck those front legs, back legs, and really use that tail and that body to propel through the water. So we'll wish them, you know, some good luck. Good job. Very good job, guys.
That was awesome.
So during this time of the year, our mole salamanders emerge from their underground burrows on rainy nights. They head out to our ponds, like the one behind us here. They lay giant egg masses. They're sort of like a jelly mass of eggs. They could lay a lot of eggs, a couple hundred it could be. Once those eggs hatch, they're little larvae. They breathe through gills in the pond, eating little invertebrates. Over time, they metamorphosize, turn into adult salamanders. They leave the pond, only to return the next winter during the next breeding season. So today we found some males with us here. Males are usually the first in the pond, waiting for the females to enter. So now is the breeding season. It'll go on for a few more weeks. Once they're done, back underground until next year. So really special time and one of the only times we get to see these salamanders.
Yeah, every time we find these tiger salamanders, it's just really amazing. I think these are some of the most beautiful salamanders that we have out here. And I'm so lucky that we get to go out and survey for these guys. And looking forward to the next few months, hopefully get to see some of our other salamanders as well.